You're listening to the Law Frog Radio Show with David McDivitt and Ross Ford on Kilo 94.3 FM. Presented by McDivitt Law Firm.
It is good to see you, Ross. I'm glad we're here.
Well, we've had some amazing stories that I want to talk to you about. A couple involving football, coincidentally with my team, not just a weird coincidence. It happens to work with my team, but the Chiefs on a couple of different levels. One we talked about.
It's called karma, but go ahead.
Hey, now, everyone just piling on. It's like I feel like my team's now the Patriots. You know, everyone loved those guys for a while.
And then all of a sudden...
Tom Brady, look at that Tom Brady. He was a 6th-round draft pick, and now, look, he's took that little team to the Super Bowl, and he won one. What a great story.
2 and 4 years.
3 years later, like, man, what a douchebag that guy is. Now, granted, his coach was cheating like a son of a bitch, so I kind of wrote it. But
oh, come on.
The same thing. Oh, man, Pat, what a nice guy Pat Mahomes is. Oh, that guy's a cheater. They're always picking up flags. I love it. I love being the villain. Anyway... the game, fairly notorious, one of the coldest, I think it was the 3rd coldest game in history. The wind chill negative 20-plus degrees at Arrowhead Stadium for the Chiefs and the Dolphins playoff game, and it looked miserable. People were opening up. They grab a water out of a fridge, which I don't know why they have them in the fridge in the first place.
Just put them outside at that point.
That's a waste of money. That's a waste of money right there. But they reach into the fridge, pull out water, open it up, and just from the change from that pressure and temperature, the whole thing was free solid. And there's pictures of people opening their beers, pops, frozen solid. And so anyway, they played the game, and the Chiefs won, by the way, and then went on to win the Super Bowl.
No, I heard about that. Yeah, and I did. I noticed.
But we got a word just 2-3 weeks ago. There was about 17 people now that are facing amputations because they got such frostbite. Now, I was a kid in Alaska, so I know the ramifications of frostbite. I've seen people with frostbite. I've seen people, have other hands and fingers, and they tell the stories about how they lost them. Pretty horrible. But you go to a stadium, on your ticket, there's this little disclaimer that talks about you're the responsible for anything that happens. Are any of these people going to have any kind of recourse against either the NFL or the Kansas City football team?
I can't imagine that they would. These are
just because the ticket says that. I mean, because they didn't drag you there.
Well, that's the thing. I actually think that, and what these are. You
don't think someone could prove them being irresponsible to let that game happen?
Well, I mean, in order to be able to make a civil claim, I mean, there are elements that have to be met. So a lot of what we talk about when we talk about a civil case, and this is different than a criminal case, but in a civil case, there are elements to a claim. And if you're talking about negligence, for example, did you make a mistake? Were you negligent? So did you have a duty of care to somebody, and then was your behavior a deviation from that standard of care? So when you operate a facility and you invite people in for a sporting event, and you sell the ticket, and the ticket has these kind of implicit waivers. They're explicit, not even implicit, but I mean things that say like, you can't hold us liable if you get hurt because of X, Y, and Z, things like that. I mean, you really see the waivers when you're participating at a trampoline park, for example. But when you go to a stadium,
by the way, do you go to trampoline parks often?
A couple of times.
Yeah, kids.
I go in when I don't have the kids. But anyway, I go for other reasons. Hey, there are things that a stadium could be responsible for, or there could be some negligence, that a team could make some mistakes. But if you go and you are impacted by the weather, then short of being able to say that the stadium had insufficient facilities to protect the people from the elements, and these are open air stadiums.
Yep.
So your expectation is usually it's from the sun. You want to be able to, you want a little shade, so you go in. I mean, if you went and got a really severe sunburn because you went to a late August preseason game, for example, is your claim any stronger in that situation, or is it weaker? And I liken it to that. Now, there may be something that I am missing, but I think if you go to an outdoor stadium and you get frostbite, unless there was, I guess I'm trying to think how you could make a strong claim here. Well, be able to say that they blocked the exits. There was no way for you to get out. That's where you see these claims, is if they're doing something.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And if there's a stampede or something, and then they packed boxes up against some of the exits because they had a halftime show they were getting ready for, things like that, where you can say, "Whoa, they really made a mistake." But yeah, you voluntarily go to a game where it's so cold. And was this the Buffalo game?
It was Miami.
That's
Buffalo was cold too. But
I'm sorry. Yeah, this was when Miami came to Kansas.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he wouldn't have that temperature. Wow, I'm the smartest man in the world. So wait, this was in Miami, and
it's the coldest day in Miami in the history of Miami. I think it was negative 26 degrees.
Yeah. Listen, so I don't. Have you seen? Have you read that there are claims? I haven't read that anybody's suing them, but maybe they are.
I would assume someone's got to be. With 17 individuals facing amputations of parts of their body, I think there's got to be some sharks circling. I haven't heard anything specific, and I was 100% because I figured the tickets, and no one's forcing you to be there. But my buddy had a good idea. He's like, well, hey, they stop the games when there's lightning. They've canceled games when there's lightning. That's dangerous. Just as dangerous as freezing to death. It's like, that kind of is. And it's a natural element. And these people, although not forced to go to the game, hey, I'm a working guy. I paid $300 for a ticket to go to this game. I'm not getting the money back because no one's buying these tickets. I'm out $300. That's like 3-4 days worth of work for me. I got to go to this game.
I understand. I mean,
well, just on your
let's talk about
if I was one of those folks who suffered, let's say I lost my left hand, which is my favorite hand.
I don't want to know why.
It's gone. Dave, would you represent me in suing the NFL for allowing the game to happen? You would say no?
I'd have yeah.
Really?
I just fumbled through that. I'm trying to say I'd have a hard time saying yes to taking that case, but I'm not saying, but you know what? I have established, because we all know I am not the smartest man on earth. I mean, just ask my kids. They tell me that all of the time. But, when you talk about the lightning, what you're doing in these situations is you're saying, look, I am taking the responsibility that I have to look at the weather and go out, and then I'm just trying to blame you. And I think, waiver or not, in your ticket, I mean, where was the negligence on the part of the stadium operator, on the part of the team? On the part of the city for allowing it. Are you
the fan negligent because you didn't wear nice enough gloves, a good enough hat?
We're not even talking. So here's the other. Okay, Ross, let me tell you the other thing too.
The law sucks.
In Colorado, and I don't know what it is in Missouri, but in Colorado, we have there's a legal doctrine here that says if you are considered partially at fault, then a jury can, the judge will reduce whatever award you got by the amount that the jury says you're at fault. Okay. Unless you're 50% at fault, in which case you don't get anything. So let's say you go to a game, you get frostbite, and if this were in Colorado and you filed a suit and it makes it, you survive, summary judgment motions, and you actually get in front of a jury. The jury says, okay, well, David, you got frostbite because you went to this game, but you also knew that it was going to be really cold, and you didn't wear a muffler, and you didn't wear gloves, and you didn't wear your warm Bronco hoodie. Okay, so you are 45% responsible for your injuries, and we're going to, and the defendant entity, whatever that, the stadium authority, whatever, is 55% responsible, and so we're going to award you $200,000 for your injuries, and what's going to happen then is the judge will then reduce that damage award from $200,000 down to 55% of $200,000, and just over $100,000. So, so you ask, would I take the case? I think on a thing like that. So the question for you, when you talk about lightning, for example, lightning is one of these things that kind of comes up a little bit randomly. Like you kind of know maybe there's a weather cell coming in, but you go to the game, and then all of a sudden, this thing that's coming from up above that could kill anybody instantly, we need to get people out of the way of that. And it's kind of a temporary thing. If there are lightning storms, they're not having the game to begin with. Because
freezing to death is
a little different. I know. I understand.
Man. That's what he's probably right on the mark here. Right? That's the lawyer. Right? Your Honor, lightning kills you instantly. If you freeze to death slowly, you're to blame. You're the idiot.
You had time to run away from that slow death.
All right. I don't want to get too much more involved. We're eating up too much of the people's time. We got a lot of questions to answer for the citizens. But real quick, so Rashid Rice, another Kansas City Chief, unfortunately, racing his cars through the streets of Dallas and loses control. And he, in his rented Lamborghini, and his buddy in the killer Corvette owned by Rashid Rice, crashed into 7 other individuals. Would you, I know the answer is yes, because this is what they do at McDivitt Law, personal injury law. But would you represent one of those folks they crashed into?
Yes.
Very quickly.
Very quickly. Well, yeah, I mean, look, this is really horrible. By the way, you said he was speeding. There's what they would call in banking, there's a one handle on this. Like, he was driving over 100 miles an hour. I think it was 129 miles an hour.
Racing.
So obscene amount.
And then they tried to walk away, and he would have stuck to his guns and said, no, it wasn't me, if there had been someone filming it and say, "Hey, you guys all right? Why are you walking away?" And it's like, "Hey, there's Rashid Rice right there."
I mean, so
it'd be a quick slam dunk, probably, right?
You bet.
Yeah. Now, what about
the slam dunk? Is would I take the case? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now you've got 7 people who are injured.
Yeah.
And you have insurance that's implicated in this, and you also have presumably a deeper pocket with an NFL star.
Well, the first lawsuit has been filed. It was $1 million damage, 10 million punitive. Does that sound right? Punitive.
That's a word. Yes, and these are things.
But the first lawsuit, $11 million. I don't know of that if they're going to garnish an $11 million settlement, but you're going to have 7 of those, probably, right? Or close to it.
Yeah. And what's going to happen is these are going to be complicated because presumably each one of the 7 will maybe hire a different lawyer.
Right.
And nothing's going to get resolved until all 7 claimants are able to
go through the process,
prove up their case in a way. They're going to. I guarantee what's going to happen. They're going to try to get everybody together here and say, "Look, here's the pool of money we have to work with. Whether he likely has insurance, he's got an umbrella policy, presumably, and
his signing bonus probably going to go away pretty quick."
Yeah.
You're listening to the Law Frog Radio Show with David McDivitt and Ross Ford on Kilo 94.3 FM, presented by McDivitt Law Firm.
You know what's funny? When I do this, I think, well, I feel like I'm answering a specific question. So there are, a handful of people who are listening right now for whom that answer might be applicable. In addition to, obviously, the person who asked the question. But then there are other people too who I think are listening and are just getting just a general knowledge of the law and its exposure to a part of our life that, a lot of people don't have exposure to very often. They don't think about the law. They don't think about how things, impact other things legally, and sometimes it's not relevant to people. But hopefully it is educational. It's informative.
It really is. I'm always fascinated just how there's no easy answers. I mean, there's some stuff that just you think just A plus B equals C kind of things, or just it's a yes or no.
Ross,
and then you work in circles, and there's this angle. It's like, wow, it's so deep.
It is, then this is why we have lawyers, because we have to navigate the law. The law is complex and it's evolving, and that's one of the beautiful things about our country is our system of laws, and the way that we apply the law is designed to be fair and just. And to get there, it requires an analysis, and obviously the facts are so different in every situation. You can take an A, B answer, but applied to a certain set of facts, it becomes a much trickier answer. So I love being a lawyer. I find it to be just so rewarding and meaningful. I get kids coming up to me who say they want to be a lawyer, and I just love that. And so if there's anybody listening right now as a kid who wants to have exposure to the law or just wants to know more about it, I'm always happy to talk to anybody. So anyway, I guess we started talking about that, and then we're talking about golf. Oh, we weren't? Oh, but we can. Would you like to?
Well, let's talk about me and my honorary law degree that you're going to give me here pretty soon.
McDivitt and Ford.
I'll add it to my associates from Pikes Peak Community College. I'll be the applied science lawyer. They'll call me the applied science lawyer.
Lawyer. Applied science.
I have at home one of those fancy tuxedo T-shirts where it looks like you're wearing a tuxedo, but it's a T-shirt.
Fools me every time, Ross. Fools me every time.
Around the office. Hello, fellow lawyers. How do you do?
Ross, what are you wearing a tuxedo? Well, of course. It's after 6 o'clock. What am I, a farmer?
Who's going to drink whiskey without a tuxedo, I would say? So the question was from Dwayne last month when you couldn't be here. And it's only one I conquered because it's the only one I knew I could slam dunk. His question was, Dear Lawyer Ross, is it possible to have my driving record sealed in order to get better insurance rates? It's DUI related. And my answer to Dwayne was, oh, hell no. Am I correct?
Correct.
Yeah, right? No.
Yeah, DUIs, they can't be expunged. I mean,
eventually they fall off, yes?
A DUI?
A DUI? Or is that forever?
No.
That's forever?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yes.
Forever and ever?
Well, I mean, it's your rates may change. I mean, when you say does it fall off? I mean,
isn't there like a statute of limitation on some of the stuff? So let's say you're...
Are you talking about for insurance? Yeah, maybe for insurance after a while, like it's because like they're not, the look back doesn't extend it, but it's not as if...
Haunt you forever, like, you're an 18-year-old kid, you do a felony or something stupid, breaking and entering, just doing dumb kid stuff, and you wind up getting caught, and then you don't have a gun for the rest of your life, and you don't get to vote for the rest of your life, and then people always ask, how do I do that? You got to get the governor of this state to give you permission And good luck there, brother, unless you're a big donor.
So this is one of those things. I don't know what the insurance lookbacks are as far as what your rates are.
But
the DOA doesn't just go away. No, it's still on your record.
Can we look at your record for insurance? Nope, you cannot. That is illegal.
I'll let you look at these 3 here for unpaid parking tickets, but you cannot look at my DUI and vehicular assault section.
You can't look at my sealed records, but I drew you a picture with crayons of puppies and kittens.
Ooh.
So I did it, right? I'm a lawyer now?
Yeah, I mean, there are certain juvenile records, things like that can be expunged. But yeah, generally, I think we're talking about an adult who's got a DUI on his record, and he just doesn't like that, and I don't blame you.
It's really impacting me negatively, Dave. How do I get rid of this thing? Just straighten up, don't do anything stupid for a little while, and eventually it'll just wash away.
Get a helicopter, I'm telling you.
Which other one do you want? Let's go with the girlfriend who was in the car accident, and they're coming back for more money.
Yeah, I love this.
When I read that, I was like, that's not right.
Could we? I wish we could talk to them. I'd love to know what's going on. Yeah, can we?
Yeah, I'll tell you what.
It's 719-555-5555.
I'll tell you what. I will call Mike and see if we can get him here during the next break.
Yeah, it'd be great.
So do you want to jump? Can we talk about the van thing?
Yes.
That's interesting because I know exactly what this dealership did. We don't name names here, but this is from Citizen Travis. Bought a van from the dealership, driving home, and the check engine light popped on. So ended up being something wrong with the catalytic converter. So I brought it to their attention the next day. And when they found out what it was, that it was a catalytic converter, they said they're not going to fix it because Colorado does not do emissions. So the van runs fine minus the check engine light. So it's not something they need to fix. Not something he says that they need to make the vehicle reliable upon the sale to him. But his thing is a valid point. It's like, well, if there's another check engine light issue, something else goes wrong with the vehicle, he's not going to know because the vehicle check engine light is always on. And I know exactly what they did because my Jeep had the similar issue for a while, catalytic converter thing. And when you would do work on the Jeep and you take the battery off and hook it back up, it would clear that code. So the check engine light would go off, ... for a while. It could be, a few hours or a couple days. It would eventually pop back on. But every time I take off the battery, it would clear it. And I guarantee those folks who sold the van cleared that before they test drove the thing. And then it eventually pop back on. But are they required just for a check engine light? Mr. McDivitt.
Okay, there's several things to unpack here. Number one, they said that the people who sold them said that Colorado doesn't require emissions testing. We do. Most vehicles 1981 and older. So,
but not like you remember we used to have to take it in when you get your tags and stuff like that, and you had to go to usually like a Jiffy Lube or something like that.
You have to prove.
And then they would put the stuff in your muffler and make sure you weren't spitting out gas. They don't do that anymore.
I don't know. I mean, I still have to produce proof that I've passed the emission standards. I mean, when I register my car, get new tags. I mean, sometimes their older cars really have to do that. I think the bigger issue here is that the vehicle. I have no idea what kind of vehicle this is. That's the thing. It's a used vehicle.
Question for you: when you register your Sweet Rides, Denver or Colorado Springs?
Colorado Springs originally.
Really? And you saw that because he specifies says since Colorado Springs does not do emissions.
Oh, is that what he's saying?
That's what he said there. I said I just said Colorado because I assumed the entire state because I do remember because I've as a young man I drove crappy vehicles and that was always just scary to go get the emissions because God, I hope my 1985 Pontiac is going to pass emissions so I can still have a car to drive. Ross, that hasn't happened anymore.
Listen, I got to be honest. I have no idea. I mean, I've always just thought in Colorado. I mean, it's the state law that we have to have emissions. We have, the state has an interest, and the state's usually the one. Not at the municipal level, but the state level where they require certain emissions testing. They have emission standards. California has one. Colorado has another. Florida has its own. And then the kind of the federal rules too. So I think their bigger issue though is with the fact they bought this car that has a check engine light and the dealership's not going to fix it. The dealership may not need to fix it. I don't know what the conditions that the car were when they bought it, what the terms were. Let's presume something. It's a presumption here is this is a used van.
Okay.
Right?
No, yeah. I'm sure it is.
They bought it as is. So the question is, does it work? Yes. There are lemon laws that apply in Colorado. There are some federal standards as well that impact certain kinds of cars or certain conditions with cars. There may be a way they can get the dealership to do this I don't know. There's a lot of hemming and hawing going on from this side of the station right now.
The reason I'm fascinated by it is because I know what they did by resetting
they reset the code.
Light.
They reset the code, and now the problem is
they know exactly what they were doing. That's the Weasley thing about it. You know what I mean? It's like, come on. Man.
Well, that's why they sell them as is. Buyer beware when you buy a used vehicle. So there are, the Colorado lemon laws can apply. I can get Travis in touch with a lawyer who actually specializes in this. There are a couple of lawyers in Colorado who do almost nothing but Colorado lemon law when it comes to vehicle. Yeah. So, this is Travis, right? Travis, we can get you the name of somebody who might be able to help you out here.
We'll do that, Trav. We'll get you someone to contact to see. And then, obviously, what you paid for the vehicle is all indicative of how hard you need to fight for
I think...
Or get a new catalytic converter.
Well, that's the thing.
Do that, too. And that's eventually what cured my problem.
Are they saying that the catalytic converter is faulty? Or they're just saying that the check engine light just won't go off? Well,
it could be two things. It could be a faulty converter completely, or it could be the sensor that goes in the catalytic converter is bad, and so it's just sensing O2 fails or whatever. Mine was the catalytic converter was bad. Eventually, it fell apart on a road trip one time.
I'm going to try to do my best Boston accent. It sound like I'm from another country. Ross, we need to talk like we're from Boston because the car talk guys. You remember the car talk guys?
Yeah, the bars that go far.
No, but these guys used to talk. That was like an East Coast.
I do remember that.
And one of them, I think, one of them died, and then they didn't do the show anymore. But they were always talking about, one
Travis.
of those
guys is dead.
Yeah, I think so. So Travis, you got your check engine lights on. Well, here's what you need to do. You need to pop the hood. Go in there, take the spark plug. It's the left one on the right side. Dust it off 4 times. That light's going to go off, and I'll tell you what.
Lick on that plug there, Travis. Lick on the end of that plug just kind of like it's a lollipop.
That's right.
If you feel a spark, and you feel a little tingling in your tongue, you know it's working.
And these 1982 GMC vans, they were always known for having these check engine lights and a catalytic converter that looks like it's a catalytic converter. Well, it's fine. And make sure when you're going up the hill, you're only going 5 miles an hour. When you're going down the hill, you're going 2 miles an hour. You're never going to have a problem with those. Those things will run forever.
You know what?
I miss those guys.
You sound like Joe Pesci. Right there. Did he sound like Joe Pesci?
Yeah, I probably did.
He went full Pesci, man. Full Pesci.
You're listening to the Law Frog Radio Show with David McDivitt and Ross Ford on Kilo 94.3 FM. Presented by McDivitt Law Firm.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, Colorado Springs does not require emissions testing to register the vehicle. Denver does. Boulder does. Broomfield does. Douglas County, Jefferson, portions of Adams, portions of Arapahoe. You can tell I'm reading the website. Right. Portions of Larimer and portions of Weld. All right?
But just because this city, Travis, does not have emissions, I don't think they can do. Because you're like, hey, I drove down from Boulder then. Fix it now.
Yeah, but but keep in mind, what I was really trying to focus on is dealing with the defect issue with the car and all of that. Yeah. But the emissions thing notwithstanding, I want to apologize to everybody out there who is screaming, and I'm sorry that your vocal muscles were strained yelling.
He felt the disruption in the force. We did find Mike. If you missed his question, his girlfriend in an accident last year. Their insurance company settled with them at the maximum, and now the other folks' insurance has hit Mike and his girlfriend up saying, we need $6,000 more to finish fixing this vehicle. Our insurance already paid $15,000 for the accident. Should we get help? Do they have to pay the $6,000? My answer, again, I'm just a part-time lawyer, is no, they can't do that after you settle with them, right? Once you settle, aren't you? That's what they call it, a settlement?
Settlement, full and final.
Oh, lawyered. I just lawyered him.
Boom. Well, let's talk to Mike.
Mike, good morning, man. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Very good. This got to be that sucks to put a piece of paper and see that, right? $6,000 bill. What the?
Yeah. After they paid $15,000 on a piece of crap vehicle.
What car was it? What kind of car did you hit or she hit?
Oh man, I don't even remember what it was. It was an older, like a Tahoe or something like that.
Right.
I want to do something here, Mike. I'm going to ask you some questions, but I want you to be very careful here because I'm not going to ask you specific questions having to do with the claim, any of that, because I don't know where you are with whether or not your girlfriend's being sued for personal injuries, things like that. I want to talk just about the car. It sounds like she was in a crash. The person that was the other person, their car was damaged. They filed a claim against your girlfriend's insurance company. And as I understand it, your girlfriend's insurance company paid the maximum and maybe for personal injuries or maybe just for the property damage. And you mentioned $15,000 as well, which was paid by your insurance company to this other person. Is that right?
Yes.
Do you know, was that $15,000 earmarked? Was that for a property damage claim?
I think it was both personal injury and property.
Okay. And and this is a Colorado policy that your girlfriend has?
Yes.
All right. And the crash was in Colorado?
Yes.
Okay. So the reason I say that is because Colorado has a state minimum of $25,000 for personal injury, for bodily injury, BI, bodily injury. And then you can also add on, certain, if you carry insurance, there's going to be a component of it which would pay for collision. If you cause a collision, your insurance will pay for part of it.
Is there insurance for BM? Bowel movement?
No, but that's part of the BI. Okay. Because if you can't BM because of your BI, you're SOL.
I have to have a BM every time I'm in a BI.
You sound like my 9-year-old son. All right, so Mike, anyway, back to you. The classy one in this trio.
I'm 4 years old over here. Sorry.
There is a chance that what happened was that they didn't settle for the actual maximum. Nonetheless, typically when an insurance company pays out on a claim, the third-party claim, they're paying out somebody who is not their policy holder. They will require that person receiving the payment sign a release of claims against both the insurance company and the person the insurance company has insured. That is to say, your girlfriend. What I would normally see in a situation like this is if they are paying for paying out a full and final settlement for the property damage to the vehicle your girlfriend was in the crash with. I'm not saying she's responsible. I'm just saying the insurance is apparently admitting that they are responsible for paying for it. They would require that person to sign a release saying we're not going to go after your girlfriend or the insurance company for any more money. So that's why I find this demand for an extra $6,000 to be a little interesting.
Now I got a question, especially now that I'm a part-time lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
So, Mike, does this look legitimate, like it's really from their insurance company, or is it something that maybe that they're doing on their own to try to shake Mike for $6,000? Because I can't imagine an insurance company would go to the individual as opposed to going to their insurance company in the first place that already did the settlement. Does it look real, Mike, or does it look kind of half-assed?
Kind of half and half. It did look real, but
it might be real. But and keep in mind, I mean, this is the person who is at fault. So they are going to, that insurance company would communicate with you
and then
in some instance.
And his girlfriend's job then to contact their insurance company?
Yes,
have you talked to your insurance company, Mike?
No. I get to say it first.
Sorry.
I'm
getting ahead of myself now that I'm a part-time lawyer.
Yeah, I'm the full-time lawyer who doesn't know a lick about admissions testing in Colorado Springs, apparently. So,
Your Honor, I concede, and Mr. McDivitt can now take the floor.
And we stipulate that. Okay, so my question to you, Mike, is have you let her insurance company know about this letter? And if so, what did they say? Okay,
no, we haven't. We haven't done nothing.
Well, that's the first thing to do. Call them and say, look, we got this letter. I'm going to send you a copy of it. Email it to them.
They're supposed to get your back. They got your back, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, they did. You need to understand, and I think it would be good to educate yourself on what exactly happened with the claim. Get a copy of the correspondence related to the claim, any release that might have been signed by that person receiving that money. I mean, you could just go on the portal for whatever insurance company this is. They probably have a portal where your girlfriend can pull up the claim history for this particular incident. Look at the correspondence. Well, it's just faster. I mean, you can also get it from the insurance company by calling them. It's a lot faster if they have a portal, log in, get your credentials, go in there, look at the claims history, and see what was paid and for what purpose. Did they submit a damage estimate? Oftentimes, in order for the insurance company to pay a specific portion, they rely on a repair shop, a body shop, or a mechanical shop to diagnose what the problems are and to put together an estimate. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'm still fascinated with the angle that maybe they're trying to fool him.
I like the shakedown element.
Mike, in the letter, what do they say to send the money? Or did they say?
I don't think it said.
It may.
I think it just said that they were asking for $6,000 more from us.
I'm fascinated. All right, well, I'll tell you what. Step one, then, Dave, would be contact his insurance company.
Because it could be the insurance company left it open. It could be your girlfriend's insurance company said, look, we'll pay the $15,000 right now because this is the preliminary estimate. But, a little bit later, if you find out that catalytic converter actually does need to be replaced and the check engine light needs to be replaced, then, yeah, you can come back. And really what they're saying is we're going, there are additional $6,000 worth of damages and we're going after the rest of the insurance policy. Or they paid $15,000 and maybe there's a $25 collision component to your policy. There's a limit to how much the insurance is going to pay. But if the person accepts the insurance money, whether it's a portion of it or all of it, almost always that insurance company is just going to require a full and final release. And the only reason that person wouldn't then accept that is if they think we can go after. Is if they think they can go after Mike's girlfriend and her incredibly deep pockets to get paid personally.
All right.
And unless you're dating Rashid Rice, wait a minute, Mike. You didn't tell us Rashid Rice is the one who caused the. I'm kidding.
So first things first, man. Contact the insurance company and see what they say about it. Let us know if this is a fake thing. I still think it's fake. All right, Mike.
I will sure do that.
All right, buddy. Good luck with your BI and your BM. Okay.
Yeah, hey, I have BM all the time.
I know. Do you cut stuff to put in a promo? You got to cut that. That's got to go in a promo.
Ross and Dave McDivitt helping the citizens. I have a BM all the time.
Oh, my gosh.
On the kilo. Well, that's about right. That sounds about right. Okay, we only really have like 3 minutes left, my friend.
What do you want to talk about?
Well, all right, so this is such a long story. I'm going to abbreviate just so people can know what they need to do if they find themselves in the situation, or you can kind of give them the right direction where to start. So, guys, his wife was going through a car wash. The guy in front of her backed his silver truck into the front of her car, messed it up. You can see in the video that his wheels are moving backwards. The driver of the vehicle says, I didn't notice anything. I did hear a crash, but they're basically denying he had anything to do with it. And they want to know where to start because he drove away. They got his license plate and everything, but if you have video footage of someone backing into your car, you've got video of their license plate. Maybe you don't, it's like a Rashid Rice thing. Maybe you don't see who is driving. Can you hold whoever has the insurance to that vehicle accountable?
Yeah, you can. And that's really the first step to go to. So, because that vehicle is insured.
How do you find I have the vehicle, I have the license plate number. How do I find the insurance behind that one then? If the guy drove away, so.
Well, if your question is how do you find the insurance policy that covers a particular car, there are ways of doing it. There are databases you can search.
Search like a license.
Well, we use investigators to do it. It's not like you just go to the website like findbobsinsurance.com, but there are tools like if you know what they're registered.
So if you do have a license plate number, you can find the insurance.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You start there, find the insurance company, contact them.
It's not always super easy. We use different companies to help us track down. Trust me, on every one of our cases, we are looking to find out every insurance policy that might cover a car because there is insurance that can cover a crash that's not just the insurance written for that particular car. And that's what I want people to remember. I would love in the next minute to just remind people, if you own a vehicle, insure yourself. If you drive, insure yourself, but also add uninsured/underinsured motorist coverage. So we've talked about BMs and BIs. This is UM. Add that UIM, just the UM. Just tell your insurance company, I want the UM. It's not that much more extra, but it'll cover you if you're hit by somebody who doesn't have insurance because there are enough jokers driving around without insurance.
Yeah.
So what we do is we look to find out how many insurance policies might apply. Who covers the driver? Who covers where the driver's living? Who covers the car itself? Are there other cars that driver has that might also apply to this car? We can stack them. Who knows? So in a situation like this, in a drive, like you said, it's a car wash. So we know the vehicle, we know the license plate number, but we can easily find out who owns. Yeah, we can find out who owns that in just a heartbeat. Question is, what insurance company do they have insuring it? So that we have to do a little digging, but we'll find that out too. So once you know with the insurance company that covers that car, unless that car was absolutely truly stolen and the driver had reported it stolen before this crash, wink, wink, because they pull that one all the time. I wasn't driving and my car was stolen and I just didn't forget to report it.
If in fact Rashid Rice was not caught on videotape by some folks walking away from that scene, he would have went quickly. No, man, someone stole my car. I was not in it.
Guys, Pat Mahomes did it.
Yeah, throw Pat Mahomes under the bus. So, real quick then, because we're out of time, this scenario happens to someone. Is it best then to use your uninsured motorist insurance or try to track down the vehicle that hit you?
You talk to your insurance company. They may decide it's not worth the time to try to track him down.
Thank you for listening to the Law Frog Radio Show with David McDivitt and Ross Ford on Kilo 94.3 FM, presented by McDivitt Law Firm.